Good afternoon, everyone. I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe. And if you're a subscriber, then I would like for you to like the video because that will help with the algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed before, if you feel that this message is important, then I would like for you to subscribe and hit the all button because we live in a systemically racist society. So anything that attacks systemic racism, the powers to be is going to do everything they can to prevent the message from getting out. So I'm just, like I normally do, I'm going to jump right into it. If you really want for further clarification, you should go to the video that precedes this, in which I explained narcissistic frustration, which is really to be spoiled and is childish. But this paragraph should sum it up because I was told that the comment was made that Caucasians are proud racists, to paraphrase it. My response was, they're not actually proud of themselves. If they were, they wouldn't be racist. Racism is a form of self-hatred caused by their narcissistic frustration due to their inability to fool themselves. Now, this is because the narcissistic frustration is caused by judging themselves in comparison to someone else. You should never judge yourself. You should be who you are and improve on the cards that God has given you to play with. Play with your deck, not somebody else's. Narcissistic frustration due to their inability to fool themselves, due to the fact that black people exist. It's due to the fact that black people exist because we dominate in sports, music, science, and basically everything. But I'm going to talk about that later on. The fact we beat them at everything, oftentimes when the playing field is leveled against us, causes them to act out violently because you're comparing. You're not trying to be the best that you can be. You're trying to be someone else. And that prevents you from being who you are. That prevents you from maximizing who you are. You can't be like Mike, and you're not supposed to be like Mike. You're supposed to be you and the best that you can be. This is what Jesus was trying to preach. This is what Jesus was trying to preach when he said, do not judge others. Because when you judge others, the only thing that you can compare them to is yourself. Be the best that you can be. Don't worry about what others are. And then I went on to say that this causes them to act out violently, and the fact that they're not Homo sapiens, but a subspecies of humanoid, you have a complete understanding of who and what they are that identifies how they act and why they treat us the way they do. Now, I left a link in which a white woman on a news station called her own people Neanderthals, and then she called Neanderthals a subspecies. A subspecies is a judgment. A subspecies is a judgment. There's nothing wrong with being a Homo sapien or being a Neanderthal. The key is to be the best that you can be and don't compare. I'm going to read you Matthew's chapter 7, verse 1, 2, 3. Now, I need you to listen with an open mind, not waiting to contradict, not waiting to debate. Just listen. Here is a saying, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Another spiritual saying, before the eyes can see, they must be incapable of tears. I mean, feelings. Before the ears can hear, they must be incapable of sensitivity, which means you're listening. You're not judging. Before the mouth, before the mouth, before the person can stand in the presence of the master, God, his mouth must be able to wound, his words must not be able to wound. And before you can stand in the presence of master, your feet must be washed in the blood of the heart. That means desires. And when the worst desire is to want to be someone else. To want to want to be someone else is to compare yourself to them and then try to decide who's the best. None of us are better than each other. We have to play the cards we're dealt. If you're worrying about who's the best, you can't be the best who you are. Because you can't be me, I can't be you. Chapter 7, verse 1 through 3. This is Jesus speaking. I'll explain it. Judge not that ye be not judged. Because the reality of the situation is when you're doing the judging. And when you judge them, you're judging yourself. For with what judgment ye judge, the judgment you judge with is your judgment. That's you comparing yourself. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. Which you see he's saying in chapter 7, verse 2, that you're judging yourself against yourself. You're judging yourself with an idea of what you think this person is. And when you do that, you're not taking care of your own business. Using Jordan again, if Jordan can jump 44 inches, whatever, that don't mean that you have to jump 44 inches to be able to play basketball. Bird wouldn't jump in 44 inches. Neither was Jerry West. Neither was Bob Cousy. Neither is Jokic. Be the best that you can be. Stop judging, because all it's going to do is cause narcissistic frustration, because you are judging and you are not trying to be who you are. You are not playing the card that God has given you. And this is in verse 3. Verse 3 literally repeats what I just said. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? You're doing this. It is the beam in thy own eye. You're doing this to yourself. Now, understand this. All things emanate from God. All things emanate from God as sunbeam from the sun. Unity is the recognition that all things emanate from that which is the beginning, which is God. Now, whether you believe in God in a physical sense, we can say all things have a creator. And we are all sunbeams of that creator. We are from what we have come from. So you can be an atheist or you can believe in God. This is still applicable. See all things as one is to understand the beginning. And what this means is we are all sunbeams from God. God made us all. Play the cards you are dealt. Play the cards you are dealt, and don't worry about other people. Be the best that you can be. This is Kemetic philosophy. It is the religion of Africa that was taken and broken apart by different ethnicities, by different people. They all borrowed from that. And then the plutocracy, they're going to hate this. They created heaven and hell so as they could control people, divide us up, and use us. Because white supremacy didn't start. The United States created white supremacy for the purpose of making money with slaves, to justify slavery. That's why all this stuff is twisted up like this, to justify slavery. But we are all beams of light from God. Be who you can be, the best that you can be. You look at Larry Bird, he's not trying to be Michael Jordan. He's being the best that he can be, Larry Bird. And whether I call you a Neanderthal or I call myself a Homo sapien, it don't matter, because we can intersexualize and bring forth progeny, which means we are the same. And we're not like a horse and a donkey that creates a sterile meal. When we mix, we mix some of the most beautifulest kids in the world. That should be a message right there, that there's nothing wrong with intermarriage. But the problem is narcissistic frustration, because you can't be who you want to be. And you shouldn't want to be me anyway. Wanting to be me is hating who you are. We all know, if we read the Bible, that Jesus is black. If we look at the Egyptian walls, the paintings, the statues, they're black. But what is important about Jesus? It's his message. It's his character. Jesus said this, and whether you believe in Jesus or not, words of wisdom are words of wisdom, and they should not be ignored. If you have a logical mind, what I'm saying to you should add up, whether you believe in Jesus or not. Intelligence is the ability to recognize truth when you hear it. I may not be the smartest man in the world, but when it comes to recognize truth from a lie, I am second to none, and you have that ability too. It's called spiritual consciousness. Use it. Okay, we're going to Mark 3, verse 32, 33, 34, and 35. Mark 3, verse 32, 33, 45. Now listen to what Jesus said, because this is the same thing as saying, be who you are. The Kemetic philosophy from Africa was telling people to be it was the summum bonum, which means do the greatest good, which is to be the best that you can be. Now let me read this, starting at Mark 32. And the multitude sat about him, and they said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren without seek for thee. And he answered them, saying, who is my mother or my brother? And he looked around about on them which sat about him, and said, behold, my mother and my brethren, for whosoever shall be, for whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother. Let me repeat 35 again. For whosoever shall do the will of God, the same as my brother and my sister and my mother, are his kin. So see, it comes down to your character. Even Jesus said this. It comes down to believing in the will of God. If you are a Christian, then you have to believe in the will of God. And if you believe in the will of God, then you are Jesus' mother, brother, and sister. That's what it meant. That's exactly what it meant. So stop comparing yourself. And this is what Martin Luther King said, that you measure a person by the content of their character. The content of your character is not in somebody else, it's within you. The content of your character is within you. It's not in somebody else. And trying to be somebody else, you're not going to put their character in you. Be the best that you can be. And the reality of the situation, you don't need Jesus, Yahshuwah, to tell you this. It's common sense. You got to play the cards that you were dealt with. Now I'm going to tell you something that is really ridiculous about racism. Racism is narcissistic frustration. And I'm going to tell you something. You can have all the money in the world. When you die, will you take that money with you? You can have all the money in the world. When you die, will you take that money with you? I was reading, I was going through, YouTube came up, and then this thing came up, the Rothschilds or somebody talking about they're worth $7.8 trillion. So what? When you die, you ain't taking that money with you. But I'm going to tell you this, something else you ain't going to take with you. When you die, you're not going to take the color of your skin with you. When you die, you are not going to take the color of your skin with you. Your body is a covering for your soul, which allows you to live on earth. Your astral body, your astral body covers your soul. I should have put it this way. Your physical body covers your astral body. Your astral body covers your soul. Your soul covers your spirit. When you die, this human body of yours, as we all know, whether you have melanin in your skin or not, it's going back to the dirt. It's going back to the dirt. It's going to dissolve back into the earth. Some of our bodies will go into the dirt. Some will go into food for animals. Some will go into plants. These atoms will disassociate themselves and dissolve into other parts of the earth. And you know this. And you know this. So why are you holding on to the color of your skin? Holding on to your color of your skin is like trying to will the color of your skin to your grandkids or some crazy stuff. And then they get the money and do something crazy with it. What I'm saying to Caucasians, Neanderthals, stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself and enjoy life. You're not going to be able to take the color of your skin with you when you die. When you die, your soul and your spirit leaves, but that human body that you're so worried about is like the preacher says, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. When you die, you are not going to when I die, I'm not taking melanin with me. It will be left here. And I will be judged by my character. It is my soul that's going to be judged, not the color of my skin, not how much money I have. That has nothing to do with nothing. The color of my skin, that has nothing to do with nothing. It all has to do with one thing, the content of my character. And according to Jesus, if you believe in God and you follow the 10 Commandments, that's it. That's it. That will, but let me say this now. I'm going to say this. Heaven and hell don't exist. They're states of mind. What you want to do is you want your spirit to evolve spiritually. Now, this is something that I had to deal with. I was dissatisfied with the church. I felt that in all these different religions. So I said, hey, this is BS. I got out the church. I decided I was going to read the Bible and straighten all this out. Then I found myself being, when I went back to read it, the same hypocrite as was everybody else. I read this book by a person named Krishnamurti. He taught me, he was Indian, from India, and he taught me to think for myself. Now, he was from India, but he taught me a spiritual message. And he was not black, but he taught me a spiritual message. Then I read a book by J.A. Rogers that taught me a number of books, a black historian, taught me to think for yourself. Well, Krishnamurti taught me to think, question things, think for yourself. And J.A. Rogers taught me, he reinforced think for yourself, but look for proof and verification. And what you believe in must have logical content, because truth builds up. It builds up. It builds up. Then, when I had my first experience with the realization that God exists, which is called the nous, N-O-U-S, it is a connection with my mind or your mind with God's mind. It's a connection. And where you lose track of time and space. But that connection came through the Kabbalion. And the Kabbalion, although it was written during the time of Kemetic philosophy, and it was changed to it was Kemetic philosophy, but then the name was changed to Hermetic philosophy, because you know how you white folks do. But the book of Hermetic philosophy that gave me the reality that God existed, it was by a white man. It was by a white man. It wasn't by a black man. I got my realization that God exists from a white man because he was of spiritual character. It didn't have nothing to do with his skin. He was of spiritual character. And then I look at this, and then I look at how a lot of black history has been whitewashed. But we have to grow out of that. And it's like, and I can't compare myself to Caucasians. I can't do that. I have to be the best that I can be. I have to be the best that I can be, which is a teaching of Jesus. Okay, I'm going to read Mark 2:15 to Mark 2:17, and I'm going to show you how this ties in with the person who wrote the Kabbalion. And he didn't give his, and he called it the three, and he said that the book was written by the three initiates, which is really the Trinity. And he had spiritually arisen to that level. Mark 2:15 to 17. And it came to pass that as Jesus sat at meat in his house, many publicans and sinners sat also together with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many, and they followed him. And when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eat with publicans and sinners, they said unto his disciples, how is it that he eateth and drinketh with publicans and sinners? And Jesus overheard it. He saith unto them, they that are whole have no need of the physician. They that are whole have no need of the physician. But they that are sick, I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repent. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Now, what that means is this. If you study the Bible and Chemite philosophy, which is the first religion, it means to be godlike. To be godlike. Jesus was godlike, but he always called himself the Son of Man. Jesus called himself the Son of Man, but he always tried to be godlike. And we are supposed to be godlike. And we are supposed to help those who are in need of help, not those who aren't. And I say this because I got the Kabbalion, and I would not have gotten it if it wasn't for the white guy who wrote it, who copied it, and then wrote other books explaining it. He was of the character of God. He was of the character of God. Let me give you his name. A lot of his books, he calls himself Yogi Rama Sharaka, but his real name is William Walker Atkinson. His name is William Walker Atkinson. And now, is he a Bible person? No. He is strictly Kemetic philosophy. Strictly Kemetic philosophy. The teachings of the Egyptians, who were Kemites, and they were black. But let's get this straight. The Egyptians were black. In 2005, a test was done with just a small piece of skin. Numerous tests were done from a small piece of skin from a mummy. And the melanin in that mummy was equal to the melanin in my skin, proving that they were black. But guess what? It don't make no difference. It don't make no difference when you die, because you're not going to take your skin color with you. But it does make a difference if you are black and you are living in a white supremacist racist society. It makes a difference, because these are the cards that white people have given me to play. I have to play the cards that are given me. When I breathe air, I have to deal with, as I grow up, I have to deal with the situation. And if the situation is one of white supremacist, narcissistic racism, which leads to violence, then I have to deal with that violence. When that violence is gone, then I can deal with the character of a person. White people that are non-racist, I deal with them based on their character. White people that are racist, I deal with them based on their character. I don't speak to white people first unless they speak to me first. And then they have to be a certain tone. And because I pay attention. I don't judge first. Like a lot of people, they see the title of this video and they get upset and they judge first. But when I meet Caucasians, I don't judge first. I wait to see if they engage me in conversation. And if it's in friendly conversation, then it is reciprocated. If not, if they don't speak to me first, then I'm going on about my business. Because in a racist society, the color of your skin matters. And it's not because I made it matter. It's because white people have made it matter. White people make the color of my skin matter. I ain't got no problem with it. I ain't got no problem with it. I'm just gonna deal with you on the way you deal with me. And let's get one thing straight. I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of you. I'm cautious, which I should be when dealing with a person I consider insane, but I'm not scared. So don't think that black people are scared of racists. We're not. And especially in 2023, because we've been dealing with you all for a long time. But with that, God bless us all. White, black, don't matter what you is. God bless us all. But to say something real quick, my personal opinion is that Caucasians are the youngest humanoids on the planet. So they have more to learn. And they should learn from the black race because we are your mothers and fathers. So you should learn from us. Stop disrespecting your mothers and fathers and become a part of the human race, and stop this ridiculous narcissistic narcissistic insanity that leads to frustration, and stop lying about everything, because we're reaching a point in the history of humanity where lies just make you look stupid. That's what's meant by when people say this is 2023, they still playing this racist game, which is to say this is 2023. Can't they see the truth? Can't they wake up? With that, like and subscribe. Talk to you all later. And if you're white, because of racism, speak to black people first in an engaging way, and then they'll open up to you. But black people, you got to let them speak to you first, so that you'll know, so that you can identify whether they're racist or not. Because the reality of the situation, if you don't like me, I don't particularly care for you either. That's the name of the game. And I'm not trying to move into your neighborhood or anything else. I'm doing what's best for me and my family. And I will defend my family against racists. With that, have a nice day. God bless us all. And the key to the whole conversation is stop judging yourself and comparing yourself to other people. Be the best that you can be. If you feel that there is someone who knows more than you, then learn from them. Don't try to be them. Learn what you can from them and go in peace and enjoy your day. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to end up in jail or you're going to get sued. That's what the plutocrats want to do. Hey, they hold it when they hold down the minimum wage. They're not just doing this to me, they're doing it to you too. When they make hospitalization so expensive, they're doing that to me as well as you. But most importantly, do what's best for your soul. Do what's best for your soul. William Walker Atkinson did. You can too. Peace, God bless, and God's will shall be done whether you like it or not. And right now we're coming to end time, so I suggest you get right with God. C'est la vie. Talk to you later.